What if I told you that the next 12 months of your life would look exactly like the last 12 unless you decide otherwise? What if I told you that the most dangerous trap isn't failure but drift, and that millions of men waste years of their lives not because they're broken, but because they never decided to rise? Listen to me closely. This is not a speech. It is a line in the sand. It is not information. It is transformation, but only if you choose to install it. You are not here to be entertained. You are here to be awakened. Because if you're honest with yourself, something inside you has known for a long time that you are capable of more. But knowing is not enough. Most men know. Few decide. Fewer still act. And almost none repeat that action until it becomes identity. And that's what separates the builders of destiny from the victims of drift. Let me ask you a question I once asked the greatest minds of my generation. What is your life costing you right now? Because you're not living it with absolute purpose. I've studied the lives of Edison, Ford, Lincoln, Schwab, and Carnegie, not to admire them, but to extract what made them inevitable. And here's what I discovered. They did not live by chance. They lived by choice. They did not drift. They decided. They did not hope. They moved. And most of all, they never wasted years waiting for permission, for motivation, or for the perfect time. They didn't get lucky. They got to work. If you're listening to this right now, it's because something inside you knows that the way you've been living, waiting, wandering, wishing, cannot continue. Another year lost in confusion, another year lost to comfort, another year wasted in the quicksand of hesitation, overthinking, and invisible fear. You already know where that path leads. It leads to forgotten dreams. It leads to a weak identity. It leads to regret on your deathbed when the ghosts of your untapped potential stand around you and ask why you never gave them life. You are not meant to repeat the same year 10 times and call it progress. And yet, that's exactly what most men do. They make vague resolutions. They speak big words, but they change nothing. They wake up the same man every day because they never install the discipline required to become someone new. Understand this. Time doesn't change your life. You change your life, and only when you take control of your mind. The clock keeps ticking whether you act or not. And the harshest truth I've ever had to tell a man is this. The future does not get better by accident. It only gets better by design. If you want this year, this next chapter to be different, then you must become different. And the way you do that is not through emotion or motivation. It is through a process I've spent a lifetime refining. A process built on definite purpose, ruthless decision-making, auto-suggestion repeated daily with emotion, mastery of thought, feeling, and action, relentless rhythm and repetition until identity changes. That is the only way. Let me make this painfully clear. This message will change nothing unless you choose to repeat it. You must not just hear this speech, you must install it. You must internalize it. You must return to it again and again until the old self breaks under the weight of your new belief. You don't need more information. You need reprogramming. Your current self, the one drifting, delaying, second-guessing, was built by repetition. Repetition of fear, repetition of excuses, repetition of half-hearted habits, and if repetition built the weak you, then repetition must now build the unbreakable you. That's why I say this. Do not just listen once. Listen every day, every morning, until this message becomes memory, until memory becomes instinct, until instinct becomes you. You have 12 months ahead of you. 12 chapters, 365 chances. The only question that matters now is this. Who are you becoming with them? Let this message mark the death of hesitation. Let this message become the beginning of clarity. Let this message be the signal that this is the year everything changes, because you finally do. Now breathe deep, because the next words you hear will strip away every excuse you've ever believed. And if you listen closely, if you burn this into your mind with repetition, with action, with fire, You'll never be the same man again. Let us begin. Let us speak plainly. Most men are not living. They are drifting. They do not decide. They defer. They do not walk with purpose. They wander in fog. They do not live by design. They exist by default. I call this condition drift. And if you do not master your mind, it will master you. And drift is the first symptom. In my private conversation with the allegorical devil, as recorded in Outwitting the Devil, I extracted his greatest tool for enslaving the minds of men. And what was it? Not addiction, and not violence, and not even fear. It was drift. He said to me, I cause people to drift through life without purpose or plan. I manipulate them through their habits, their appetites, their fears, and their laziness. I do not need to destroy a man. I only need to make him drift, and he will destroy himself. This is not fiction. This is the real enemy. A drifter is not a man who is evil. He is simply asleep. A drifter is not without potential. He is without purpose. A drifter is not doomed by fate. He is doomed by indecision. And what makes it worse? Most men never even realize they are drifting. They live the same day over and over again, convinced they are working toward something while they delay the very decisions that would change their life. They procrastinate. They overthink. They entertain every distraction the world throws at them. They say, I'll start next week. I'll figure it out soon. I just need more time. But days become months. Months become years. And suddenly they are middle-aged with no direction, still spinning in circles, still convincing themselves that someday they'll rise. Let me give you the harsh truth. Most men will die as drifters, and they won't even know it. They will leave no impact, build nothing of substance, and worst of all, they will go to the grave with their potential intact, untouched, unrealized, forgotten. Why? Because they never made the decision to take control of their mind. And so the world controlled it for them. You must understand this now. Drift is the default condition of the undisciplined man. If you do not have a plan for your life, you are already a part of someone else's. If you do not consciously direct your mind, it will unconsciously follow the path of least resistance. And that path, it leads to mediocrity. You must not accept this, because the pain of regret, the pain of what could have been, the pain of watching other men build legacies while you spin in hesitation, that pain is far worse than any pain discipline will ever require. I have said before, and I will say again, the man who cannot control his mind will never control his destiny. Now let me tell you the difference between the drifter and the decided. The drifter waits. The decided man acts. The drifter reacts to life. The decided man designs it. The drifter fears failure. The decided man knows failure is feedback. The drifter needs external permission. The decided man gives himself internal orders. You must become a decided man. You must declare war on drift. Not next week, not when it's comfortable, but now. And how do you do that? You install what I have called the definite chief aim. This is not a wish. It is not a vague desire. It is not a journal entry scribbled at midnight. It is the single dominating purpose of your life, written in stone, burned into your subconscious, repeated with emotion every single day until it becomes your identity. Without it, you will wander. With it, you will build. Your definite chief aim is your anchor in storms, your compass in confusion, and your fuel in fatigue. Every man who ever accomplished anything worthwhile, Carnegie, Ford, Edison, Lincoln, had this one thing in common. They knew exactly where they were going. Not eventually, now, and you must decide the same. No more vague goals, no more soft intentions, no more, let's see how it goes. That mindset is for drifters. You are here to take command of your life. Let me give you a tool. Use it every morning. Speak it with power, with presence, with fire. Say it out loud. I know where I am going. I know who I am. I do not drift. I decide. I design. I dominate. Let this affirmation become your weapon. Let it destroy the old identity, the version of you that delayed, that hoped, that coasted. Every time you say it, your subconscious listens. And every time your subconscious hears it with enough emotion and repetition, it installs it as truth. This is not magic. This is mental engineering. You rewire your mind through repetition. You rewrite your identity through command. You must now build a life that drift cannot survive in. That means daily rituals. That means discipline. And that means removing every escape route back into the fog. Destroy the distractions. Burn the bridges to your old self. Because the cost of one more wasted year is not just 12 months. It is the erosion of your identity. You don't just lose time when you drift. You lose who you could have become. So hear me now. This is your wake-up call. Not from a friend, not from a boss, but from your own conscience. Drift is the silent killer of men. It doesn't attack you. It seduces you. It doesn't steal your life. It convinces you to give it away. And the only cure? Decision. Declare your definite chief aim. Burn it into your mind. And from this moment forward, repeat with me, I know where I am going and I refuse to drift. Say it daily. Say it with power. Because you will either program your mind or the world will do it for you. And I assure you, the world is built to keep you drifting. There is a secret that governs all progress. Before a man wastes his time, before he forfeits his opportunity, before he wakes up 1 year older but no closer to his dream, he first wastes his thoughts. He does not lose the year in his calendar. He loses it in his mind. A man's reality is not dictated by the clock, the economy, or the weather. It is dictated by the dominion he exercises over his thinking. And all that you are, all that you become, all that you achieve begins as thought. Every failure is first permitted in the mind. Every success is first constructed in the mind. This is not theory, it is law. I have stated in Think and Grow Rich, more gold has been mined from the minds of men than from the earth itself. And it is still true today. The average man lives by reaction. He is told what to think, what to fear, what to chase. He listens to voices not his own. He receives thoughts like a beggar receives crumbs and then wonders why his life feels so small. But the uncommon man, the man who becomes master of himself, he does not wait for life to tell him what to believe. He commands his mind. He says what will be thought. He decides what shall be believed. And he repeats those thoughts until they carve themselves into the very fabric of his being. Your year will not be wasted because you were too busy. It will not be lost because the conditions were difficult. Your year will be wasted if you allow the world to write your thoughts. Because the mind, left untrained, becomes a sponge, absorbing every fear, every limitation, every excuse. And soon, those thoughts become beliefs. Those beliefs become choices. Those choices become your calendar. Do you understand what I am saying? Your entire year is being built in advance, right now, by the silent procession of thoughts you entertain daily. That is why I have insisted for decades on the use of autosuggestion. The daily, deliberate, emotional repetition of chosen thoughts. This is how a man reclaims the pen of his own life story. If you do not practice autosuggestion, the world will perform it on you. You will be hypnotized, not by a man in a black cloak, but by the rhythm of distractions, the repetition of fear, the reinforcement of mediocrity. If you allow your mind to drift in thought, your body will drift in life. The great men I studied, Carnegie, Edison, Ford, each had the same secret. They repeated their aim. They visualized the result. They refused to permit a single thought that contradicted their objective. They were not lucky. They were intentional. They understood this truth. Thought is cause. Circumstance is effect. If you lose time this year, it is because you lost command. And if you waste another year, it will not be because you didn't have enough time. It will be because you failed to program the mind that governs time. A man cannot achieve externally what he has not first demanded internally. Your habits begin in your thoughts. Your direction begins in your thoughts. And even your self-respect begins in your thoughts. So let me ask you plainly, are you feeding your mind the thoughts of a king or the noise of a coward? Because every time you say, I'll wait, I'll see, I'll decide later, You are forfeiting the steering wheel of your life, and someone else is grabbing it. Every man walks in the direction of his most repeated thoughts. So if your thoughts are undisciplined, your life will be chaotic. But if your thoughts are governed, your path will be guided by strength. Let me share with you the tool that changed everything for me and for the thousands of men I've taught. It is daily auto-suggestion with emotion. It is not merely repeating words. It is speaking them with power. It is writing them as law. It is engraving them into your soul through emotional repetition. You must speak the identity you are becoming. And you must do it daily, because the world speaks fear into you hourly. I do not say this for inspiration. I say it because your subconscious is always listening. It does not act upon occasional thoughts. It acts upon dominant thoughts. What you repeat with emotion becomes what you believe, and what you believe becomes what you build. You may say to me, but Mr. Hill, what if I do not believe these words yet? And I would answer, you do not speak them because they are true. You speak them until they become true. You are not lying. You are leading your mind. You are not pretending. You are programming. Let the mind hear this daily without fail. I command my thoughts. I do not obey fear. I do not drift. I decide. I dominate. I write my year with intention. I write my day with purpose. I command my direction, and the world must follow. Say it upon rising. Say it before rest. Say it when the voice of doubt visits you. And say it not in whispers, but in declarations. You must visualize yourself walking in strength. You must see yourself rising while others delay. You must feel the power of command radiating from within, because what the world sees in you, what it gives to you, what it permits you to do, will always be in proportion to what you believe you are allowed to have. Do not let another year go by because you obeyed fear. Do not arrive at another December wondering how the months escaped you. The answer is always in the mind, so reclaim it now. Program it now. Repeat it now. This is how you destroy drift. This is how you build momentum. This is how you reclaim time before it is lost. Let me leave you with this. There are men who walk this earth as shadows, not because they were born weak, but because they never learned to think with power. And there are men who reshape history, not because of wealth or genius, but because they commanded their thoughts like a general commands his army. You have that same mind, you have that same ability, and you have this speech, this instruction as your tool. Use it, repeat it, install it, because your time is already being written, either by the world or by you. Say it once more with fire. I command my thoughts, I do not obey fear. Let that be the drumbeat of your day. Because when you own your mind, you own your year. And when you own your year, you change your life. Success is not a thunderclap. It is not a single explosion of opportunity or an accidental stroke of luck. Success, as I have seen in every man who ever rose to greatness, is the consequence of disciplined action repeated daily, day after day, with or without applause, with or without results, with or without the comfort of certainty. You must understand this if you wish to stop wasting time and finally begin building the life you were meant to live. Most men lose years waiting for the right moment. They delay because they believe that clarity, motivation, or fortune must first arrive at their door before they can begin their work. But I tell you now, this is a deception. There is no right time. There is only the time you decide to begin. All great structures are laid brick by brick, not in bursts of glory, but in quiet, unseen labor. Think of Thomas Edison. Do you believe the light bulb was born in a moment of genius inspiration? Number. It was built on the ashes of over 10,000 failed attempts, 10,000 silent trials mocked by the world, questioned by his own mind, but carried out because he understood this truth. Repetition is not punishment. It is preparation. It is the act of creating certainty where none yet exists. Edison knew that success was a structure, so he built it, piece by piece. And what of Henry Ford? He was laughed out of rooms. He was told his vision was nonsense. Even his own engineers doubted the possibility of his 8-cylinder engine. But Ford believed, and he believed repeatedly. Not just once in the morning when the sun was high, but over and over again through storms of failure and walls of rejection. He rehearsed belief until it took shape in metal and motion. That is not magic. That is rhythm. That is the science of persistence. Success does not descend from the clouds. It rises from your rituals. Every day you neglect your structure, your routine, your self-talk, your focus. You weaken the walls of your future. Every time you skip the basics because you feel uninspired or tired or discouraged, you begin to dismantle what you've spent days, weeks, months building. And it doesn't collapse all at once. It crumbles slowly, silently, subtly, until one day you look around and realize you are standing in ruins, not because life destroyed you, but because you refused to build. So I ask you, what is your structure? What are your daily non-negotiables? Do you rise with purpose or drift into each day by accident? Do you affirm your identity before the world speaks, or do you let the noise dictate who you become? You cannot expect to reap the rewards of greatness while living with the discipline of mediocrity. In my research with the world's most successful men, I discovered one common trait above all else. They each possessed a definiteness of purpose. That purpose was not vague, nor was it flexible to the emotions of the day. It was fixed, anchored, and each day they acted in alignment with it, not with overwhelming effort, but with disciplined, deliberate motion. They did not seek to do everything. They focused on doing the right things again and again until they became second nature. That is the structure. That is the foundation. If you want to stop wasting years, stop wasting days. And if you want to stop wasting days, then build your life around the non-negotiables. Decide what must be done every day to move your mission forward, and then do it regardless of how you feel. This is how steel is forged, under pressure, by fire, and through repetition. And your life will not be different. Your character, your strength, your results, these are the bricks. Discipline is the mortar, and your vision, that is the blueprint. Every day you skip the structure, you choose delay. Every day you honor it, you choose destiny. So what must be in your daily rhythm? A moment of silence to reconnect with your vision. A declaration of identity before the day begins. I build myself daily. I do not skip the foundation. A commitment to one key act of creation or progress, no matter how small, no matter how hard. A reflection each evening. Did I build or did I wait? Did I act like the man I aim to become, or did I drift into distraction? You do not need 1,000 perfect actions. You need a handful of faithful ones, executed with intensity and belief, again and again. This is how you change your life, not by chasing explosions, but by constructing something permanent. The grind is not glamorous, but it is holy. It is sacred, because each act of discipline is a vote for the man you are becoming. Each repetition, no matter how dull it feels in the moment, is another strike of the chisel against the stone of your old identity. And if you continue, if you do not stop, then one day you will look up and realize you have become the very vision that once seemed so distant, so unreachable, so foreign to your nature. That is how men are made. That is how legacies are forged. So I say again, success is not a singular act. It is not a spark. It is not luck. It is the result of building a structure and honoring it daily. The only question left is, will you build or will you drift? Repeat after me. I build myself daily. I do not skip the foundation. Say it every morning. Say it when no one is watching. Say it when you feel like quitting. Because the man who keeps building, even when no one claps, even when no one sees, he is the man the world cannot ignore forever. Now take a deep breath, look at the day ahead, and lay the next brick. There is no force more deadly to your progress than delay. Not failure, not fear, not fatigue. Delay is the silent killer. It creeps in wearing the costume of wisdom. It speaks in gentle tones, whispering, "Wait until you're ready. Wait for a better time. Wait until the path is clear." But those who obey this voice do not climb mountains. They remain where they are, forever waiting, forever preparing, forever postponing the very life they were meant to live. Let me be absolutely clear. Waiting for motivation is a lie. It is a betrayal dressed as logic. It is the dream's assassin. Motivation is a luxury. It is a guest who visits now and then, but cannot be trusted to wake you in the morning or carry you when you grow tired. The man who depends upon motivation is like a farmer who depends on the weather. He may see a harvest one year and nothing the next. If you study the lives of the men who shaped the world, Carnegie, Edison, Ford, you will find that none of them relied upon motivation. What they relied upon was decision. Swift, committed, final decision. Andrew Carnegie told me once, "The man who hesitates is already defeated. The opportunity is gone before he has even reached for it." He believed, as I do, that success belongs to those who act, not to those who wait for perfect conditions. What is the myth of someday, if not a fantasy? How many men go to their graves carrying visions that never saw the light of day? Ideas, ambitions, changes they promised they'd begin once they felt ready. I have walked among thousands of souls in pursuit of success, and I tell you now, most were not defeated by failure. They were defeated by delay. They waited too long, and the fire that once burned within them turned cold, buried beneath comfort, procrastination, and fear disguised as caution. If you are waiting for the right time, you must understand there is no such thing. The right time is now, and if you do not make it now, you will not make it ever. Emotional reasoning is one of the most dangerous habits a man can develop. It is the tendency to let feelings dictate action. I don't feel like it today. I'm too tired. I'm not inspired. These are the death sentences of dreams. The successful man, the man who becomes unshakable, does not obey his emotions. He commands them. He does not ask if the mood is right. He moves and lets the mood catch up. You must cultivate a bias for immediate execution. This is not recklessness. This is responsibility to yourself, to your vision, to the life you have been called to build. The moment the idea strikes, you act. The moment the fear whispers, you walk forward. The moment the path reveals itself, you do not pause to gather opinions or overanalyze. You go. This is how you build momentum. This is how you train your nervous system to trust you. When you act swiftly, you rewire your mind to believe, I am a man of execution. I am a man who decides. I do not delay. I do not wait. And in time, that belief becomes your identity. Thomas Edison did not wait for certainty before he began his experiments. He began, and in the process of action, clarity came. Henry Ford did not wait for everyone to agree before building his vision. He acted first and forced the world to adjust. You too must decide, will you continue to wait until the fear passes, or will you act and watch fear retreat? Because the truth is simple. Fear does not vanish with time. It vanishes with movement. Do not be the man who spends another year thinking about change. Do not be the man who talks of vision but refuses to walk the first mile. Do not be the man who lets a moment of hesitation steal decades of destiny. You are not here to delay. You are here to decide. You are not here to drift. You are here to move. You are not here to be ruled by moods. You are here to rule your mind. Repeat after me. I act when it's hard. I decide without delay. Let that be your battle cry every morning. Let that be your command when your feet hesitate and your hands tremble. For it is not the man who plans the most who wins. It is the man who moves first, who adjusts while in motion, and who refuses to wait another year. This is the law of immediacy. This is the standard of power. You do not rise by waiting. You rise by deciding and then acting again and again until the world bends to the will you forged in silence. Every man has felt fear. Every man who built something, who stood for something, who changed the world, walked with fear beside him. But let me tell you the dividing line between the average and the great. The weak obey fear. The strong do not. They feel it, they see it, but they do not let it lead. Thomas Edison was not fearless. He failed 10,000 times before inventing the electric light. What man could walk through that without fear? He feared wasting his life, losing credibility, being ridiculed by the world. And yet, he moved forward anyway. Henry Ford was not without doubt. He was called a fool, a dreamer, a man chasing nonsense. He risked everything, his money, his name, his future, on a vision no one believed in, and yet he built it anyway. Abraham Lincoln was not immune to darkness. He carried the weight of a nation on his shoulders through civil war and endless criticism. But he did not retreat from fear. He carried it into battle. Andrew Carnegie, who rose from poverty to become one of the wealthiest men the world has known, was no stranger to the anxiety of responsibility, the fear of failure, the fear of not measuring up. But he did not obey that fear. He mastered it. And so I say to you now, fear is not your enemy. Fear is a signal, a guidepost, a messenger, but the moment you obey it, bow to it, shape your decisions by it, you have handed it the throne. You have made it your king. Most men do not understand this. They think fear must go away before action can begin. They wait to feel brave. They wait for the doubt to disappear. And they wait forever.